Early to bed, early to rise, makes one healthy, wealthy, and wise. Benjamin Franklin uttered those famous words long before any of us were born. But it still might be a good idea to take advice from the guy whose face is on the $100 bill. Maybe you had a resolution this year to wake up earlier, or maybe it's something you've been trying to do for years. But there's more than enough evidence to show that waking up early is linked to so many benefits. These include improved mental health, increased productivity, and even a healthier immune system. Some of us were born able to wake up early without ever using an alarm, while others don't naturally wake up until afternoon. So what can you do if you want to start waking up earlier on a regular basis? We're not going to lie. If you're the kind of person that struggled to get up early their entire life, it's not going to be an easy road. That being said, it's not impossible, and many people have found themselves breaking through barriers to get up before the roosters. In today's video, we'll be going over 10 ways to make waking up early a part of your daily routine. If this is a topic that's going to benefit your personal and professional life, then smash that like button and be sure to subscribe for more videos like this every Wednesday and Friday. Now let's get to the list. Number 10. Choose your bedtime wisely. For many people, it would seem obvious that if you want to wake up earlier, you should go to bed at an earlier time. But believe it or not, that's not always the case. Studies have shown that if you go to bed when you're not feeling sleepy, you might actually end up inducing insomnia. While it's true that you'll eventually need to go to bed earlier in general to get up earlier, make it a gradual process. For example, try to go to bed 20 minutes or a half hour earlier than normal and see how you feel. Gradually start to make your bedtime earlier and earlier until you find a time that'll give you the recommended amount of sleep while still allowing you to wake up at that earlier time. Number 9. Let the light in. Before our modern world really took hold, people would typically sleep and rise based on the sun. With that in mind, try to make sure that you get enough light around the time that you want to wake up so that your body will naturally understand that sleepy time is over. Of course, this is all going to depend on where you live, as some areas have massive swings in the amount and timing of sunlight based on seasons. Even so, if you find yourself needing to wake up even before the sun comes out, be sure to use lighting within your own home to help with that process. You might even want to consider a timer that will turn on lights before you get yourself out of bed. If possible, try to increase the lights gradually, much like you would naturally experience with the regular sunrise. This will help you from being shocked when all the lights turn on in your bedroom before you're fully awake. Number 8. Be careful of light in the evening. We suppose that this is the opposite of our last tip, but still within the same vein. Again, since our bodies are designed to sleep based on the sun, being exposed to too much light when you're trying to sleep is naturally going to be counterproductive. Try to limit exposure to computer or television screens, as well as any sort of bright lights that you may have in your home. You may want to consider the type of light that you have on in your home as well. Studies have shown that warmer lighting affects your sleep less than cooler lighting. Your brain appears to be more sensitive to blue or white lights in the evening, so you may want to have warmer, more yellow lights that give off a more yellowish hue in the evenings. Some even have certain types of lamps or bulbs that they use during the day, and others that they use specifically in the evenings. The sooner that you can get to sleep and the higher quality of that sleep, the easier it will be to wake up in the morning. Number 7. Be careful of caffeine and alcohol. Of all the things that we consume on a regular basis, caffeine and alcohol are most likely to affect the quality of sleep and therefore our ability to wake up in the morning. Everyone knows that you shouldn't drink a pot of coffee before you go to bed, but you may be surprised at how long of a period of time you need between your last cup of joe and the time you go to sleep. This is completely dependent on the person, as some people can have coffee pretty close to their bedtime, while others need to stop well before lunch or give it up altogether. Alcohol is another substance that can affect your sleep and ability to wake up early. We're not talking about drinking so much that you become intoxicated, but even a famous nightcap may not work in the same way you might think. Alcohol consumption, especially when close to bedtime, may help some people fall asleep faster, but actually lowers the overall quality of sleep, causing some people to have problems waking up in the morning, even if they drink a relatively small amount in the evening. Number 6. See a specialist. For a lot of people, the reason they may have problems waking up in the morning is not something that's easily discernible or can even be pinned down on one or two particular issues. Sleep is one of the more complicated issues when it comes to human health, and you oftentimes need a specialist to point you in the right direction. Oftentimes, you may be directed to sleep in a laboratory setting so that sensors, as well as human eyes, can take a look and see what might be causing you to have problems sleeping or waking up early in the morning. Sometimes it could be a relatively minor issue that was easily overlooked, or it might be a serious medical issue. Either way, going to a specialist is easily one of the best ways of diagnosing any particular pathology that might be getting between you and waking up at a more reasonable time. Number 5. Use exercise to your advantage. Exercise can either make or break your goal in waking up earlier. If you're the type of person that hits the treadmill late at night, be sure to leave an hour or two between your exercise and when you hit the pillow. A lot of the healthiest parts of exercise, such as a release of endorphins and increased heart rate, can actually end up hurting you if you want to get to bed and fall asleep earlier. On the other hand, starting a routine of physical activity early in the morning can help your body adapt to your new schedule. It may take a few weeks or even a few months to take hold completely, but getting up at the crack of dawn to go for a jog or hit the gym will help your body's circadian rhythms adjust to getting up at an earlier time. Number 4. Make it a family affair. There's a good chance that you may not be the only person you live with who wants to get up earlier. If you and your significant other, or even your roommates, share the same goal, getting yourself up is a lot more difficult than when you have other people who want to wake up with you. This might go hand in hand with the exercise tip we mentioned as well, setting a schedule for working out with others to give you the motivation to crawl out of bed when you may not feel like it. Number 3. Consider supplements. There are many supplements on the market that work in very different ways. Try to figure out where your biggest problem is, whether that be falling asleep or having energy in the morning. If your problem is with getting to sleep, you may want to consider supplements such as melatonin to help you get into a natural rhythm. If your problem is with energy in the morning, consider supplements such as B vitamins or L-carnitine. Be sure to follow a few pointers before you consider using any sort of supplement. The first is to make sure that whatever type of supplement you're using is not only completely safe, but completely safe for you. For example, if you have heart issues, you may want to be very careful with any sort of supplement that contains caffeine. Another tip in this area is to experiment and see what works best. Since every body is different, it may take some trial and error to find something that works best for you. Number 2. Be consistent. Don't expect to be able to get up at 5:30 every morning during the weekday and then sleep till 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the weekend. One of the least fun but most important aspects of waking up early is understanding that you can't break your routine regularly and expect good results. Your body needs a particular rhythm to work at its peak, and if you wake up at erratic hours, you'll find that all your other hard work has been for naught. This is true for both the time you go to bed as well as the time you wake up. However, there is a little bit of wiggle room once you get a pattern established. For example, if you get up at 5 a.m. during the week, you may be able to sleep in for an extra hour or two on the weekend. Just make sure that any sort of variation in your schedules are not going to be drastic, or else not only will your sleep patterns be affected, but so can your overall health. And our number 1 tip, understand your motivations. This is on the top of our list because if you don't have a reason for doing something, it becomes much more difficult to put in the work. Do you want to have extra time to get ready for work in the morning without having to rush? Or are you wanting to have some time to meditate and enjoy your morning cup of coffee? Whatever the case, be sure that this is front and center, or else you may lose the motivation to put in the work over time. Though you may find yourself missing a lot of the action by having to go to bed earlier, we're sure that you'll find that waking up early will bring with it a whole list of benefits in your life. There's a reason why so many famously successful people list this as one of the most important parts of their daily routine, as well as mentioning it as a reason for their success. Just be sure to do everything you can to improve the quality of your sleep, stay consistent, and keep your motivation ahead of you, and you should have no problem getting over the hump. For a lot of people, waking up early is probably one of the biggest challenges they have in their life, but one that becomes a lot easier over time. Have a topic in mind you'd like to see us cover in the future? Drop us a line and let us know. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Until next time, this has been your friends at Verloda wishing you good health.